Good morning students. Today we are going to study chemistry for class 6 and the name of the first chapter is Introduction to Chemistry. The four topics that we are going to cover in this video are Introduction to Science, Definition of Chemistry, Historical Perspective of Chemistry and Applications of Chemistry. I know this is the first time that you people are going to study chemistry, and so first you should know from where that chemistry comes from or whose part is it. Chemistry is a branch of science. So what science is? Science plays a very important role in our daily lives. It forms an inseparable part of our life. Okay, and we are surrounded by the gifts of science. Like suppose if you are feeling hot, what will you do? You will switch on fan or you will switch on AC. Both are gifts of science. And when you wake up in the morning, what do? The first thing you do is toothpaste you use, isn't it? That toothpaste is a gift of science. The clothes you wear, the processed food we take in, like pizzas, burger, and all these are all gifts of science. In fact, our modern world will not be that modern without science. Okay? And science, that term has come from a Latin word scientia, that means knowledge. So science, the definition of science is, it is the system of acquiring knowledge about the natural processes around us. Like it may be the growth of a tree or day and night or turning of milk to curd. Okay, alright. If you are going to study this natural process, we are actually following science. And science is based on two main things, observation and experimentation. Observation means if a natural process is taking place, we have to first see, look carefully for that natural process, and then we have to do some experiment on that. When we do that experiment, we will draw some results we will get. On the basis of that results only, we will be formulating laws. Alright. And who does all this work? Scientists, of course. Scientists are the people, those who do experiments and formulate laws. Alright. And science, it is divided basically into two branches. That is physical science and life sciences. They are further subdivided into physics and chemistry. And life sciences is divided into botany and zoology. Okay students, we have completed the first topic, that is Introduction to Science. Now we will be seeing the second topic, that is definition of chemistry, and here it goes. Chemistry is the branch of physical science that deals with characteristics and composition of various forms of matter along with the changes they undergo. Now let us understand this. The first line says what? Chemistry is the branch of physical science. I hope that is very clear. A few minutes before I drawn that chart to show that science is divided into two parts, physical science and life sciences, and in physical science one part is chemistry. So of course it is a part of physical science that deals with characteristics and composition. Now what does that mean? Composition means what is a substance composed of? What is it made up of? For example, if you are taking water, water is made by mixing hydrogen and oxygen. If you are not aware about its formula, let me tell you, its formula is H2O. So it is formed by mixing hydrogen and oxygen. Now we know its chemical composition, and what will happen, what changes will it undergo if it is subjected to different environmental conditions. Like means suppose if water is heated, what will happen? It will boil. If that water is added to sugar or sugar is added to water, then what will happen? If water is added to acid, then what will happen? All these things also we are going to study under chemistry. Okay students, we have completed the second topic. Now we'll see the third topic, that is the historical perspective of chemistry. Historical perspective means the history of chemistry. From where does chemistry come from? The ancient philosophers, they were staunch believer that all the matter is made up of 5 components, that is land, sky, air, water and fire. In Hindi also it is there, we call it Panch Tattva. That means all the matter is made up of only these 5 components. So what we can do? We can convert one component to the other component. Yes. And suppose if you are given this chance, what are you going to make? You are going to make gold. isn't it? Everybody loves gold. Not only now, from ages this love is there. So the people, they started making the known metals to gold, and that is known as alchemy. Now what alchemy is? Alchemy is the study and attempts of transformation of known metals to gold. We are going to going to make the known metals to gold, and for that the people there, they started doing different kinds of experiments. They started doing liquefaction, sublimation, distillation, ionization, and all these chemical processes they applied. But do you think, did they succeed in that? Of course not, they did not succeed. But there was a good side to it. We people had actually started doing experiments, and that is very good for us. And from that experiments only, they got new substances. You know, the first element that was discovered in the recorded history was phosphorus. And how was it discovered? Some people, they were trying to make gold from human body. And actually not the human body, from the human urine. They were heating urine along with sand to a very high temperature. Of course, they did not get gold, but they got a new element, that is phosphorus. You know, phosphorus is present in our body. It is very important component of our bones. So they got phosphorus, and in that way only different elements were discovered and they were used. And in that way only they started doing many more experiments, and they started extracting metals from ores. They started making pottery, fermenting wine, extracting chemicals from plants and animals, manufacturing soaps and glasses. All this they started doing, and all these things only, it forms the stage, it forms the future, it forms the base for the future chemistry. Okay, so the stage for modern chemistry was set, and there was one scientist, Robert Boyle, who gave a clear-cut differentiation between alchemy and chemistry. He said that alchemy and chemistry are not the same things, something is different. He said although alchemy and chemistry are based on metals and their transformation, but chemistry, it takes the scientific method, it follows the scientific way, while alchemy does not. And this theory was given in his book, The Skeptical Chemist. This is a very famous book of his. Then after that, so many scientists came and they started giving their laws, their theories that enriched the knowledge of chemistry. The earliest known at that time was Antony Lavoisier. He gave the law of conservation of mass. And this law, for making this law, he did very careful observation and even more careful calculations. Okay, so he gave the law of conservation of mass. Then after that, John Dalton came. He gave the atomic theory. That means they started talking about atoms. You know what atoms are? They are the smallest unit of matter. You will be studying about atoms in detail in the coming chapters. So John Dalton, he gave the Dalton's atomic theory. Then Mendeleev came. Mendeleev gave the periodic table. I hope everybody must have seen, whether you study chemistry or not, you must have seen a table in which all the elements are placed. That table initially was made by Mendeleev. He arranged the known elements in the form of a table, and this, by arranging this, he even gave space, or he even gave room for the discovery of the new elements. Okay. And then in the 19th and 20th century, a path-breaking discovery was done by Marie Curie. Marie Curie discovered the radioactive elements, that is radium and polonium. In fact, she died because of these radiations only, but she was given the credit of its discovery after her death. Then one more very interesting discovery was done by Lord Rutherford. Rutherford discovered the nucleus of the atom. I hope you know, atom is the smallest unit of matter, in that the center of the atoms consist of nucleus. Rutherford proved this point only. So in that way we see so many scientists came and gave so many nice discoveries. And in the present time, the Indians, those who are excelling in the field of chemistry, a few names I have written here, that is C.N. Rao, S.N. Bose and Venkatraman Ramakrishnan. Now we are going to see the last topic of the video, that is applications of chemistry. If we see the applications of chemistry, there are n number of applications. If we are trying to make a list, that list is going to be endless. So we are going to see the applications of chemistry in different fields. A few fields I have written here for you: agriculture, clothing, food, building material and medicines. The first one is agriculture. See, whenever we do agriculture, we try to get the maximum output, the maximum production, or we can say we try to get the maximum yield. For that, the chemists, they have helped us with different things like fertilizers, pesticides and insecticides. Now what are fertilizers? Fertilizers are the chemical substance that are added to the soil to increase their fertility. Now suppose if you have got a piece of land and you continue doing agriculture on that year by year after year, then what will happen? That piece of land, it will become deficient of certain nutrients. They will be lost because they will be taken up by the plants. Then how it can be enriched, renewed quickly? It can be renewed quickly by adding fertilizer. Suppose we may add nitrogenous fertilizers, we may add phosphorus fertilizers. Whatever the soil is deficient of, accordingly we can add different fertilizers. And one more problem is there during agriculture: the pest and the insects. They harm our crop a lot. So for that we can kill them by using pesticides and insecticide. Side means to kill. So pesticides, they kill pests, and insecticides, they kill insects. Alright. Now we'll see for clothing. For clothing, clothes, they are made up of fibers, and there are two types of fibers: man-made fibers and natural fibers. Now what are natural fibers? Natural fibers we get directly from nature, from plants and animals. Their examples are silk, wool, cotton, jute. All these are natural fibers. Then what we have made are synthetic fibers. Synthetic fibers include terylene, nylon, polyester. And how and why have we made it, that we will understand. We have made this man-made fibers to increase the quality of the fiber. That means this, what new fibers we have made, they need less care while handling. They need not be ironed. Then they are easy to wear. They don't wear and tear easily. All these are made. And how are they made? They are made from natural fibers only by adding one or the other component to the natural fibers. Okay. Now the next topic is food. I need not tell you that the processed or the synthesized food, it makes a bulk of our diet nowadays. You can make that list of pizzas, burgers, tinned foods, cans, cold drinks. All these we take in and they are formed by some or the other chemical processes. Okay. Then food additives are the substances that are added to the food to increase their shelf life and flavor. And in that food additives only different types are there. We can see food additives can be preservatives or they can be artificial sweeteners. What are preservatives? These are the chemicals that are added to the food to increase its shelf life. Do you understand what shelf life is? That means that food is not going to turn sour or it is not going to be spoiled that quickly. Isn't it? That one experiment you can do at home. You take a piece of bread, put little moisture water on that and keep it outside. Outside means don't keep it in the refrigerator. Anywhere at room temperature you keep. You will see that within 4 or 5 hours only bacteria or fungus will be developed on it. That means now it is no more good for eating. But that we can avoid by adding preservatives. Then one more, artificial sweeteners are there. Artificial sweeteners are added to increase the sweetness of food. The common examples are aspartame and saccharin. They are specially added to jams, jellies, ice creams. So these artificial sweeteners, they increase the sweetness to a pretty much high level and also they preserve things. These jams and jellies, they won't be spoiled that quickly because sugar and pickles also, you see salt is there, high amount of salt. They all are going to add as preservatives. Okay. Now the next topic is building material. However tall the building is, it is always made up of the basic things, that is cement, mortar, bricks, glass, steel. All these things, they are made by chemists. They are made by applying one or the other process of chemistry. So we see the buildings, they are made by applying chemistry only. Then the last one is medicines. What are medicines? These are chemicals that we use for the treatment and prevention of diseases. The common medicines I'll be talking here about, like paracetamol, aspirin, and the very famous nowadays is hydroxychloroquine, and it is believed to be very good for the treatment of corona, but still that has not been applied, or it has not been given that test. It is not yet certified, and I hope and wish we get the vaccine of corona quickly. Proceeding with the applications of chemistry, we have got 4 more fields on which we are going to see how chemistry is applied, and they are metals and alloys, cosmetics, petroleum products, and the last one here is electronics. First, let us see metals and alloys. You know, all the metals, they are present in the earth, especially in the earth's crust they are present. But are they present in the pure form? No. They have to be taken in the pure form, taken out. And for that, so many chemical processes are applied, so many things are done. And so we get metals only after the chemical processes. And you know where metals are used? They are used in majority in automobiles they are used in industries. And the second thing is alloys. Now what are alloys? Alloys are substances that are made by mixing 2 or more metals or metals and non-metals. By mixing metals and non-metals. And why are they made? They are made so that the quality of the metal increases. And how are they made? By liquefying the metal. Suppose if I have to mix iron and I have to mix silver, I'll melt both, then I'll mix both, and when they solidify, I will get the final alloy. Some examples of alloys are brass, German silver, steel. The next field is cosmetics. Now what cosmetics are? These are chemicals that are used for beautifying the human body or for their cleansing. Now I need not tell you about the cosmetic products. The girls, they are well known of it, well aware about it. But still we will see, like there are eyeshadows, creams, lotion, mascaras. All these come under cosmetics, and they are all formed by some or the other chemicals. Okay. The third one is petroleum products, and in that a term comes petrochemicals. A variety of products that are obtained from petroleum, they are known as petrochemicals. And now what petroleum is? Petroleum, you can understand, it is a liquid that is present inside the earth, deep inside the earth. We have to dig it out, take it out, and then we can separate different portions from it. We can get petrol, kerosene, diesel, LPG, paraffin, vaccines, all these different substances we can get, and they have got variety of applications. Okay. The last topic is electronics. Chemistry has a deep effect on electronics. Here we are going to discuss about metalloids. What metalloids are? These are substances that have intermediate properties between metals and non-metals. That means they are neither like metals nor like non-metals. In between somewhere they stand. The example is silicon and germanium. And they are very good conductors of electricity. So they are used in radios and televisions. Now that's all for the topics covered for today. And now I am going to give you a bit of homework. And you may take your copy and note down that. Especially those who have book, you must read the topic up to where we have covered. And for others, and means everybody else, write this question. Make a list of 10 products that you use in your daily life. Okay? And in that you have to do one work. You write one chemical that is present in it. You know from where are you going to get? You turn back that product and see the ingredients. And that you will get the ingredients. And that any one you can write. And the question answers, they have already been given to you in the form of assignments. Already you have the notes of the first chapter. So we have covered short answers up to answer 5 and long answers up to answer number 2. So that you can go through and understand. Okay. Thank you.